What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Fight Within podcast. Today's guest is a previous guest, Cody Novini. He is a serial entrepreneur and someone that's been on the show before, someone that is a close friend, and we actually go to church together. So, Cody, thanks so much for coming on, man. I know a lot has changed since we had you on last. So, talk to us a little bit about that, obviously, in whatever detail and specifics you want to get into, but you're also doing some other things I want to touch on. So let's get right to it, man.
Manny, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Bro. Love you, dude. Glad
Love
to
you,
be back
man.
on.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming back on, man.
Yeah, dude.
So what has changed the most for you since you were on before? And kind of, I want to touch on super specific about your masterminds and the coaching classes that you're essentially holding for free when you can totally charge, and you're doing it for free for your community. People that go to church with us, people that don't go to church with us. Is it something that you've always wanted to do, or is it just something that kind of spoke to you and you kind of just came up with?
There's just so many different challenges that I've been through in life, and everybody has their different story, but the different recipes have impacts that affect specific individuals. So what I mean is, like, I spent some time with imposter syndrome, like, well, if Tony Robbins is doing it and Alex Hormozi's doing it, how am I going to do something similar and bring any benefit to anybody?
Yeah.
And like, I wanted to teach classes, I wanted to share my experience, and I wanted to share a lot of like the lessons that I've learned and tactical things to help people. And God was like, hey, go teach these classes. I've been thinking about teaching them for over a year. And he's like, just go do it already. Just get started. And so I just, in the process of getting started, imposter syndrome for sure, like I was telling you, but I realized that my recipe is different, and it will hit larger specific groups a different way. And so that is, like, there's different cultures and different groups that can help with different things. Like, if you're talking to battered women and you're a Marine talking about PTSD, you're not necessarily going to be able to connect with them as well.
Yeah.
But a Marine with PTSD can connect with a lot of other men with some PTSD, or other military individuals with PTSD. And battered women can help battered women, type of a thing. Not that they have to only specifically help that category. I'm just saying that the connection is, much more direct to a specific group. And so I learned through the process of, like, literally standing in front of the classes myself. I'm doing it nervous. I'm doing it scared, like excited, but I'm judging myself the whole time.
Yeah.
And getting to process through, like, those feelings inside of myself, and just being able to just be open and authentic. And the feedback has been so powerful. I'm drastically helping a lot of people, and it's really awesome to see. But at the same time, they're recognizing me in ways that are helping me tremendously have more confidence, have more faith, have more excitement about what I'm doing. I know God's pushing me into something. And so when he said, hey, go teach the classes already, I'm like, all right. Every time God tells me something crazy, I just do it, and something fantastic comes out of it. Not that it's easy or that it's like boom right away, but there's a process. So just being as faithful as I know to be.
Yeah. And why do you think it took you so long to jump into that? Because you said you had thought about it for a year, and then you didn't do anything. I know there was probably things going on in your personal life, but were you just working out all the logistics? Like, hey, I got to find a room or a space or subjects. Like, what was it?
So I had no idea any of the logistics, like no logistics down. And I get around like-minded people pretty often, and a lot of people are talking about, hey, we should do this. And there's lots of talks. And there's groups of people like, hey, we're going to do something. And it's a lot of coffee, and it's a lot of lunches, and it's a lot of talking. And often life is in the way and people don't execute. And so I just was like, okay, I'm not going to think about anybody else anymore. I'm not going to wait on anyone else anymore. I'm just doing it. And so God was like, just do it already. So I text 100 people and said, this is what I'm doing. And then I went on ChatGPT and kind of put together a bunch of my brain dump into it and got a little bit of like here would be a class schedule, which I used for like the first and second week. And then I haven't looked at it since. But it's just been like whatever's coming to me is what I build the class on. But yeah, man, I've just been building the plane midair, and it's been landing. Things have been coming together.
Oh yeah. Do you feel? I asked someone that's gone to them every week, or every session, every other week. I've grown from it. I've learned from it. I've been motivated from it. So thank you for putting them on. But I feel like when you do that, like, is it something that you just gave up to God and you're like, here, take the wheel. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. So like, you take it, you guide me. And is that how you kind of come up with the subjects? Like, give us a little bit of the behind the scenes as to how you come up with these things.
Yes. Short answer is yes.
Okay.
Long answer is I dumped a ton of, like, every book I've ever read into chat. I talked to it for a little while and said, help me build like a lineup of the different classes that I'm going to give. And so, it's like the first hour is business and leadership. The second hour is fitness and health and wellness.
Yeah.
And in reality, I tie in like family and I tie faith into all of it and make them, the second class. I don't design it this way so that the second class really ties into the disciplines of the first class. The Holy Spirit just shows up heavy every single time.
Yeah.
And it really works. Sometimes I'm just on a run and downloads are just coming to me. Hey, here's this story. Like, I have memory loss issues where I forget stories. I forget experiences. People go, hey, you remember when we talked about this? And I'm like, I don't. That's like a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm often like, tell me the story. And I'm just sitting there entertained by their story about something that we did. But so I'll get downloads and like, I'm on this run. I remember for the hustle class, it was all about the hustle. And I'm running fast. I'm running emotionally and aggressive. And the Holy Spirit just kept showing up, reminding me different stories or things to teach about. So I just pulled out my video camera while running and just yelled at it so that I would have my notes when I took the time to put the class together.
Yeah.
And I just think about like different subjects of what should be covered. So the business class is kind of easy because the last session doesn't have to piggyback onto this session.
Yeah, not at all.
They could be their own sessions. One could be finance. One could be, how to hire people and have a great culture. It could be all these different things. But in the health one, having Zion be our finish line, well, the start line of Zion's run that we're going to do, the 100-mile run, that start line being the finish line of these classes has helped me focus on like, okay, what do I need to teach these people at this point in training for the run, whatever distance they're going to run?
Yeah.
What do I need to be teaching them? So that's been really helpful too. And good resources around me, like talking to Nick Mraz, Ostrich Running, on like, hey, dude, what would you tell everybody at this point? He's been helping me a good bit too.
And then so when you take your video camera out, if you get a download like that, and then those are your notes, you go back and review them and then write out kind of what the next subject is or what you're going to teach on next.
Yeah. So I knew, like, and just using the hustle class as the example, I knew we were talking about the hustle and I had like some subjects I wanted to teach and some points I wanted to get across. And a lot of the whole class is just like, it's titled Beyond Your Best because I've learned like, here's what my best is, or what I thought years ago what my best is. And like, the Lord has so much more for me. My main goal of this entire thing is just to teach as many people that as possible. The same thing.
Yeah.
We have this scarcity mindset. We have this limited mindset based off all the different things that we've experienced in life. And I just want to get everybody far beyond that. So what has been like my main focus is just how do I get that point across, but give the tactical steps to folks all the way through. Because a lot of people talk motivation and then you're excited, but you don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly. So what is one thing, one barrier that you had for yourself in your personal life that you kind of had a breakthrough? Because I talk about it all the time, but I talk about it in athletics, right? Like everyone thinks they have a ceiling. Everyone thinks I can only bench this much. I can only run this fast. I can only do this. The moment you break that ceiling or that barrier, you now have a new ceiling or a new barrier because you've either pushed yourself to an extra limit, you've gained strength, you've worked on what you need to work on to get faster, right? Like you've broken whatever limit you set on yourself, and now that limit is greater, but people don't know that. They think, oh, I did 315 one time, cool. And then you think that that's your max now because you did it once instead of pushing to something greater. So what's something that you've experienced where you thought you could only have a certain number of employees or run a business to this amount of annual sales? Like what is something, a goal that you maybe had where you broke it and then you knew that you can break that, so then you went to a higher goal?
So just less than 3 years ago, obedience time. I'm hanging out with God on the toilet. Great place.
Yeah, awesome place. It's my favorite place.
God tells me go run a half marathon. At this point, I had not been running like at all. I had done a 5K with a friend, and like that's about it. Little runs here and there. And prior to that, 15 years earlier in the Marine Corps, I'd ran 6 miles, and that was the biggest run I'd ever done. And now here we are, 15 years of no running, some exercise, but no running. And he's like, go run a half marathon. And I'm like, okay, that was pretty clear. I'm going to be obedient. I signed up for a half marathon, and I ran the half marathon, and I blew out crazy big blisters in my feet, both feet. It was like running on burning hot razor blades, and it was pretty terrible.
Sounds pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I leaned into the pain and the physical discomfort, and in that process is where I separated my mind from my body. I, prior to this day, and well still, but I hated running because I was bad at it in the Marines, and I hated cold water. And so I faced running, and I had the most intimate experience with Jesus outside of my body as I'm running through this terrible process. And with Goggins screaming at me and Jocko Willink guiding me and the Holy Spirit holding my hand, I finished this run, and I like past the finish line. I just kept running.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know I was running from my emotions because I guess exhausted runners just have no control over their emotions.
Yeah.
So this guy stops me. He puts the medal on me. I break down crying, like the most ugly, sobbing, ugly cry, barely breathing, like boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And I just remember this guy who looked like he was probably a Marine too, looking at me like, what's wrong with this dude? Dude, I could not. I was wrecked. I was all like, no one was there for me, and I was just alone. And so they handed me a banana and a water, so I just kind of sit down. And anyways, the experience and the learning and the intimacy with God in that run, I was like, I gotta go do that again.
Yeah.
And so my buddy invited me to sprint triathlon. We did a couple of those, and what's crazy in my mind at that moment in my life is doing a half Ironman, the 70-mile triathlon. And I'm just like, no, that's insane. That's impossible. And then I just get overwhelmed with the feeling to sign up for it. And I sign up for it, click no insurance. I'm like tears in my eyes. You were there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I just looked at all of you like, I don't know what I just did, but I'm going to do it. And it was so scary. And then I signed up for a full Ironman before I even did the half. Just, again, another Holy Spirit moment. But going through the half Ironman, 3 weeks later, completing a full Ironman, I was like, holy cow, like, wow. And then people are talking about ultra marathons, 50-mile runs, 100-mile runs. I'm like, no, that's crazy. That's impossible. And then we go and do one last year. And so in 2 years, less than 2 years, all these things I experienced with not much training, not much, going on, but like a good amount of training. But it wasn't that I just kept raising the roof, which I was. The biggest lesson now, what you're asking, is I don't have a roof. I don't have a ceiling on what's possible now. Like each step helped me push that ceiling up. But now that I've done all this stuff, it's like, okay, there's no ceiling.
But go back to you hearing from God. What was so obvious, or what made it so evident that you had to start running? Like what was it? Was it verbal? Was it just like Did that race just keep coming up? Like, what was it for you?
It was one time on the toilet in my head. Go
Like,
run.
you really, like, that's literally
it.
what you kept thinking about, like, go run.
He said run a half marathon.
So everyone go to the toilet, open your word, and try to listen. So you're talking about that Zion race. So and then that's the next thing I kind of want to speak on is you go from like not running for 15 years, just over the last at this point 2 years, kind of doing not smaller, but not doing an ultra, doing Ironmans, doing a half Ironman, running a marathon. And then next thing you know, you're like, hey, we're going to Zion to run 100 miles. Like, that's ridiculous. Why 100? And what drove you to do that,
Yeah. So Ben was like, hey, dude, like Ben and I did the Ironmans together.
Uh-huh.
And so we were really close and we're talking a good amount and we're chatting. He's like, hey, dude, I need something else. We got to have a mission on the calendar so I have something to strive for in addition to all my insanity in life.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? And he's like, I'm thinking an ultra marathon. And he had already done a 50 mile.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm like, oh, dude. In my mind, I'm like, there's no way. That's not possible. It's not happening. And I process over a couple of weeks and I come to him. I'm like, all right, I'm ready for a 50 mile. Let's do it. Yeah. And he looks at me in that moment. He goes, I've already done a 50. I want to do 100. And I was almost like, bro, how could you do this to me? Yeah. I'm open and vulnerable. I'm saying I'll do 50 miles. And you want to double it. And within a couple days, I was thinking to myself, like, in a 50 mile, I will be destroyed and numb, broken. Body doesn't work anymore. And it's just mental pushing myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what's the difference of 50 and 100?
I'm 50 more.
And I knew, I'm like, if I do a 50, I know I'm then going to have to recover and train for 100.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just do 100.
Okay.
Fine. You got me, Ben. Let's do it. So he shows me 2 different ones. He's like, which one? And I'm like, I don't want to take the time to research them. He's like, which one? So he sends me 2. I don't remember what one is. And Zion. The one was really like lame. And then Zion was like, wow, that's going to be cool. I didn't know it was the 14th hardest in the world, but now I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just that was like the driving factor of why 100. And in the process, we're like, we have to have a mission. So we're talking about it. We're thinking like 50 miles, 100 miles, all these things. And we're thinking about orphans, and the Angel Houses build one orphanage. It covers 50 kids. And at first it was like 100 miles for one orphanage. And I'm like, 100 miles, 50 kids has to be 100.
Yeah.
Has to line up. And Ben's like, dude, that's a lot of money to raise. And I'm like, Holy Spirit, God can do anything. And so we did 100 miles, 100 kids. And we raised like 40 grand prior to the run. Mm-hmm. And that was like the hardest thing. That was harder than running the ultra, raising the money. And it's like, I'd never raised money before. And people are like, dude, you raised 40 grand. That's amazing, especially for your first time. I'm like, I have no idea what to compare it to. So I'm just, thank you. But then now, like, we kept going and we've raised over 90 grand, which pays, like, the check's been written for the first orphanage to get started.
That's awesome.
It's really, dude, that check getting to be sent was like probably one of my biggest wins of 2025.
That's really cool.
Bigger than the run, bigger than everything.
So you have a little bit more of a I would say a connection to it because you went to India and you saw some of these kids and you got to experience what life was like there. Talk to us a little bit about that trip and kind of why it motivated you to want to keep running and raise this money for the orphanages.
I had been to India in 2007 on deployment. And on our way home from the Middle East, we stopped in India for some political reasons, and we got to go into town and enjoy ourselves. And it was like the second worst impoverished city in the world or something like that. The poverty was insane, beyond anything I'd ever experienced. I learned never to be entitled. I learned so much, like, in my own heart, like what to be grateful for. And I'm talking neighbor, like where you would see just a little grass hill, it would be a neighborhood of boxes and plywood with a 2x4 holding it up, or just a stick holding it up, and a family living under it. Not like, hey, there's a few homeless dudes that are strung out on meth. Like that, neighborhoods and families, like the kids and everything. And it was just messed up. And I was like, I never want to come back to this country ever again in my entire life. And just the sidewalk at night is people lined up, sleeping like pencils, just lined up for miles.
Wow.
Not here and there, lined up shoulder to shoulder for miles. And I'm like, I'm never coming back. And then fast forward to 2022, Pastor Mark's showing the Angel House videos of building orphanages in India and how good it is. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. They're going to do good work. Great. Yeah. And I'm whispering to Elena in the thing while the video is going, oh yeah, it's worse than it shows. It's stinkier than you can imagine. Like, oh, it's like, you can't describe how bad it is. Like Lindsay Russo's explaining it. And I'm like, trying to be like, yeah, dude, even as good as she's explaining it, it's still worse than she's explaining. And then Pastor Mark's like, we're going to go to India. We're taking a team. And I'm just like, dang it, dude. I knew he was going to tell me or ask me to go, and I knew I had to go, and I had no interest in going. But so then fast forward, we go, and we got to see the angel houses that we had built. We got to see angel houses in the process of being built. We got to meet the kids. It was so rewarding to go from my 2007 terrible experience to this amazing experience in 2023, getting to see like how good an angel house is.
Because I remember you coming back and talking to you when you came back, and you had this like spark about you where you were like, I want to do more. Mm-hmm. I want to dream bigger. I want to make more money to help other people. Like, what was the biggest difference in your opinion between 2007 and 2023 in going? Was it just a change of heart, or because you were there for different reasons? Like what gave you that different perspective to come back in a different way from 2007, I never want to go back there, it's a piece of crap, to 2023, I want to do more for these people? Like, where do you think that change of heart came?
It was probably the chicken curry. It's just delicious. Dude, I ate so much food. It was so awesome. But I just found this love for them. Mm-hmm. Where the first visit, I wasn't a Christian. And I was like, forget this terrible land. I'm out. And then becoming a Christian, and then going back to this place where like so much good can be done. And it just was like, dude, owned my heart. Yeah. Like, I see those kids and I'm like, they're on the videos, you know, they show us at church, and I'm like, oh, that one, these little kids, they're so cute. They all run and tackle you and jump all over you. Like, you're trying to walk through the place. There's 10 kids on each arm somehow holding you. And they just love you so much. And it's so cool to see what good is coming out of it. Yeah. And I'm just like, fell in love, dude.
That's awesome. And so when you're running or training for it, do you think about those kids? Like what is, because everyone's motivated by something different. I love the saying, like, if you know why you're doing something, how you do it is easier. Not that it's going to be easy, but it is going to be easier if you know why you're doing something. Like, what is your why? You obviously have it, but do you think about it when you're training to help push you to run that extra mile or the extra 2 miles?
You're just trying to get me to cry, Manny.
Yeah, that's my goal. Yes.
In training last year, big time.
Okay.
I think about the kids a lot. Like, this is why I'm training. Right now, I just started training again, so I'm building my body. My body's in a good position, but I'm building it back up and conditioning myself for the run. So it hasn't been hard yet. Okay. So I have those reserves. I have the finish line of Zion in my mind, and I have the kids that I've met and the ones that I haven't met yet in my mind. And they're ready. They're like back up in my tool belt for once training gets hard. Right now is not hard training yet, but I will get there, and that's going to be my motivator through. Yeah. Same thing with race day. It's going to be thinking about those kids.
That's awesome. Well, talk to us a little bit about that, because last year you went and you and Ben went, and you obviously had the goal of finishing and doing 100 miles. You finished at 73. and for, you know, whatever logistic timing reasons. But after, well, talk to us about how it felt not finishing that and not being able to complete what your goal was, you know, and that setback.
Yeah, so we were doing pretty good, not great, but doing pretty good. And then we walked throughout most of the night. We had reasons for it, and so we walked most of the night. We decided, hey, we were going to stay together no matter what. So we stayed together, walked most of the night, and burned way too much time. We arrived at the aid station at like almost 2 a.m. and found out that there were time cutoffs that we had not even thought about because I didn't plan right. I figured we'd be so much faster.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, time cutoffs, not even a thing. So I underestimated those, and that's what took us out. So we cranked and we ran crazy hills and we beat, some of the time cutoffs, the tougher ones. And then as the day went on, we didn't finish in time. And what happened was we're in the middle of the night. Ben is like, Cody, you need to go. You need to separate from me. My pace, my feet are too jacked up, and I'm not going to make the time cutoff. So you got to go to make the time cutoff. So I'm running by myself. It's like dark, and I'm getting decent, and I'm watching my distance, and I'm like, I got 2 miles to go, and I got 30 minutes. I can keep that pace, even though the terrain's insane. I can make it in time, and if I miss it by a little bit, I'll negotiate my way through the cutoff, and I'll continue on, right? And I'm cruising, and I'm doing pretty good, and I'm talking to Elena in my AirPods as I'm running. Again, it's pitch black. I'm all alone. I've got my headlamp, and that's it. But I had good cell reception, so I'm calling Elena. And I'm like, here's where I'm at. Here's what's going on. Are you guys going to be at the aid station? Here's approximately when I'm going to make it. She's like, okay, we'll head over. And I'm like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. And then I called Ben. And I'm like, Ben, how you doing, buddy? Like, I'm just checking in on you. And we were chatting for a little bit. And he goes, have you made the descent yet? And I had totally forgotten that in this 2 mile distance we're up on a plateau and we have to rappel down a cliff and come down this insane structure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang. In that moment was when I realized I'm not finishing. I'm getting cut off. And
why? Because you have to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it ended up being not 2 miles. It was like 5 miles anyways,
Oh, wow.
the distance. So there was, even if it was just flat, I wasn't making it. But if I had made it to the aid station and they told me, hey, you didn't make it, it would have been a fight. I would have been angry and it would have been really bad. Like for me for a while until I processed it correctly. But the fact that I got, like, as he was saying that, I then came around the curve, and again, it's pitch black, but I can see, and I can see out over the whole valley, and I can see the lights of the aid station, and I'm looking at it like, dang, dude. And I had to process, and I got off the phone with him, and I started coming down this terrible rock face. And Zion is not like a 100-mile flat run. It's like a 100-mile rock climbing event with some running between stations. And I got to process that alone. I got to yell out loud. I got to cuss at people. I got to be angry and get my aggression out. I got to be with the Lord and pray and ask and be frustrated. And I got to get it all out by myself and not in front of some nice volunteer at the aid station or in front of like my family or something. And it was really healing. It was perfect. It was the perfect way for me to get to process not finishing in time. And even in that moment, even way late, like Ben and I both could have still finished the run. I know, I know what my condition was like dialed. I would have made it, and I probably would have made the 36-hour cutoff, but I just didn't make this cutoff. But now I'm running. So anyways, I'm glad that it happened that way and gave me the opportunity to process well, because it wasn't easy.
And then what do you go through as you're running that? Because you talk about, like, hey, after mile 50, it's all mental. Like, my body's going to give out. What do you do? But because you have no other choice but to keep going, right? So what do you think about? Are you, like, in prayer? Are you talking to yourself? Are you calling? Like, what is it? Take us through that.
There's, like, a lot of phases. And you can get into, let's say, prayer. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it only lasts, like, I'm not saying you can't pray for 36 hours straight, but you get into prayer and it lasts for like, let's say 30 minutes. And then you put on worship song and you're on worship music for, let's say, an hour. Like, it's like watching TV almost. You got to turn on another episode or change the channel to something else. So I'd get my mind into, if I had reception, I'd just have Goggins yelling at me. And then I'm running with, and now Alex is pacing with us. So just talking with Alex and going through just conversations and mentoring. And then there's times when I'm running next to Ben and we're having full conversations. And there's times where I'm chasing Ben, crying, trying to keep up with him. There's times where he's following me, you know, it's just, there's different phases throughout. But like, imagine you have to sit at home all day long and you have nothing you can do. It's like, well, not nothing you do. You can't leave. What are you going to do? You can only binge watch so much TV before you switch to something else. So it's kind of like that. You're just trying to figure out ways to entertain because your feet feel like they've been beat by sledgehammers. The pain keeps trying to talk to you. So I just keep myself distracted to just ignore the pain, ignore the discomforts, all the fatigue, everything. And then also focus on how much I need. Excuse me. As I drink my electrolytes and talk about how much I need to be drinking electrolytes, hydrating, salt intake, food intake. All of those things are so important. And that's one of the biggest things that takes people down is their stomach starts to hurt because the blood is now in your legs and not digesting what you're eating. And so they stop eating. And then so they burn through all of their energy and then they have nothing left. And so just forcing myself to consume, those little things help with keeping distractions going. And the time just keeps going by. Like wow, there's so much time just keeps going by. You're not bored in the sense of like, oh my gosh, the time is going so slow. It's not going slow. The time's going fast.
It sounds so pleasant.
I don't think during an ultra you can even spell the word pleasant, bro.
Yeah. I might ask you mile 50 something like, I'll spell pleasant.
I'll stop it, please.
Yeah. So why do you, I saw you guys because when Alex was pacing, you guys were at, what mile was it? Like 40 something, 50 something?
45 is when we started with him and like 60-ish is when we ended.
And so when we went to go pick him up, you guys were so broken down. And so, you were a little bit happier, but Ben was injured, man. And he kept going. And there was something I saw in both of you guys where I was like, when you see, maybe I'm just a weirdo, when you see someone suffer and like you want to coach them up, but you also like want to take part in it. And you're like, man, I want that. I want to experience that because I think there's a level of I don't even know what the right word is. I don't know if it's nirvana or a high or what it is. But and then you go back and you think about like why they're doing this. And you're like, this is so worth it. Because I don't have that. I'm selfishly doing it because I wanted to be a part of it. When I saw you guys in that broken state, I was like, man, I haven't experienced that in such a long time. But every time I experienced it, it was for selfish reasons. It was because I had something to do. I wanted to win a fight. So I had to take my body to whatever limit, I had to push it to. And you guys are doing it for the complete opposite reason. You're doing it for other people. There is a gain. Obviously, you grow as a person and you get better and you push past your limits. And you grow in knowledge. And now you're breaking things down and you're going to be more prepared for when you run the next Zion 100 in April. But I'm so like taken back by why you guys wanted to do this. And I think it has to be such an important reason as to why you want to put your body through hell, for lack of a better term, and break your body down because you still have to recover after that. It's not just like, hey, I run 100 miles, cool. Let's go to work tomorrow. We're all right. Like you have to get back into normal. How was that after? Even though you didn't finish, 73 miles is still long. How was the recovery after that? Like obviously after dealing with whatever disappointment you felt like you had to deal with, how was your recovery after the 73 miles?
Mentally, I was very proud of myself.
Okay.
And that's why I'm really glad I got to process not finishing on that terrible hill on the way down. So mentally I was very like not prideful, but proud of what I had accomplished. And then physically, my body's mad at me, but I was surprised I was able to walk. Like, you know, we got back to the RV camp and took naps for 3 hours. And then we were all hanging out in the jacuzzi. And I don't remember if I rode a little scooter down there or if I walked, but I remember walking back up. Everything hurts, but you have to keep moving. You know, the lactic acid builds up and your body's breaking, but you're supposed to, it's recommended to go for even like a 1 or 2 mile run the day after, but I'm not running. I was like, I'll walk, dude. I feel like running would be more damaging, but it's definitely taking it easy on your body and eating the right foods. And, because we did 144,000 steps.
That's crazy.
In that period of time. I can't remember how many calories. It was like 15,000 calories burned or something like that. I don't remember.
Jeez.
But I remember my watch, because my watch has like a, hey, do 10 flights of stairs a day. And it was like, you did 50 times your goals or something. The stats on my watch were stupid. It was so funny. But yeah, you got to really, I had to take it really easy. Luckily, I wasn't injured. Some people, I have 2 buddies, Nick, he was kind of injured after, when he did his 100 mile, his ankle was pretty messed up for a little while. My buddy Shingo, he did a 50 miler recently, and it like messed with his nervous system. And so, yeah, some things can happen where people have damage for like a couple months to 6 months or a year even.
Jeez.
Fortunately, that wasn't any of my stuff.
What have you been able to take from what you learned in failure and in preparation with the race, and what have you been able to take from that and apply it to either life or business? I'm
a detailed guy, but still that helped me not be too cocky and pay attention to the details. You know, those time cutoffs. Yeah. If I would have paid attention to those time cutoffs, then Ben and I would have had a decision earlier on of whether we need to split up or not. And, you know, those are the different things that help with like planning. But also like a lot of it is like, okay, I've already earned everything I ever wanted to earn in my life. And then a lot of that is like, what can I be focusing on? Like we're talking about like, what's the vision on in life? Because when it's difficult, when bills come due and there hasn't been income, or you're waiting on a payment, or you're trying to get your next customer, and those life things are difficult, not just physical stuff, but like life things. Your kid says something that's like devastating, that means I now need to put a lot more time into helping my kids with XYZ, right? Being able to push far beyond the difficulties, the frustrations, the little stuff. Big stuff that comes up now is not overwhelming. It's not as big as it would have been 2 years ago in my life. And so I can also juggle so much before I get to the point of overwhelm. And when I do get myself overwhelmed, I'm much more able to just 10 minutes, get over it, prioritize what I need to do, and start executing, even though there's so much on my plate. And so it's more like where my mind is able to process things that are emotionally are devastating.
So how do you do that? How do you go? Because I know a lot of people, and I've talked to a lot of people about like, here's your priority list. And a lot of people make it. Great. You made it. What do you do to actually execute? Here's step 1, step 2, step 3, or priority A, B, C. Like, because a lot of people get distracted. They'll turn on a TV show. They'll go out to pick up their kids. And their to-do list now becomes a want instead of a do. You know, like, I'm not going to execute that. And what do you do to take that first step to just say, hey, I'm gonna do what's on my list, and that because it needs to get done? Do you tell wifey and the kids, hey guys, I need the next couple hours to work because I got some things I got to go through? Do you leave? Like, what are some things that work for you?
I try to incorporate them helping. So
Okay.
Elena has actually helped me with a ton of stuff that she didn't used to. And in the process of that, she's learned a lot. Gavin, same
Okay.
thing. Gavin wanted to build his business. Let's see, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah, a year and a half ago, he wanted to learn a lot of things. So I was like, okay, Gavin, you want to be my assistant? I'll teach you a lot. He's like, sure. So I was like, okay, find the best home equity lines of credit. So what I did was I went on ChatGPT. I put, here's all my situations, my information and my situation. Find me the best HELOC online for XYZ things. And then, and I had made him a Google spreadsheet, taught him how to use it. And I put tasks in there with links to it. So I put a link to the request of what we need to find. Here's the banks that he needs to contact. And then another one, here's the list of information that he can tell them, because if he says to them, hi, I'm 14 and I'm trying to get a loan for my dad for hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're like, nope, click.
Yeah.
Right. So in that, I said, he told them, and I had put all this stuff together and made it really easy for him to use. He's like, hey, here's, my dad would like to do this. Here's the questions he would like answered. And here's the information that he gave me to give to you. Here's our income. Here's our credit score. Here's
And
our
the banks
whatever.
talk to him?
And so one wouldn't talk to him.
Yeah.
So then the next one, he got to learn the process of overcoming their objections.
Yep.
And saying, hey, look, I get it. You can't process anything. But right now, all I'm doing is inquiring about your bank and how you'd handle this situation. So he went through, dude, he got all the information from like 4 banks.
That's dope. Yeah.
And so 2 things are happening in that situation. One, I'm not micromanaging and being the one doing. I'm able to delegate a task to him and him get the work done, relieving my time. But Gavin got to learn a lot through the process. And dude, I had a spreadsheet of a ton of stuff and just kept ChatGPT helping me build a quick SOP, get it put into the thing. He's technically savvy and he's taking these and he's executing all these different tasks. So to tactically answer your question, what do I do when there's too much stuff going on? And I need to prioritize other tasks, but these things need to get done. I figured a way to delegate to my family and help them learn. So Elena has done a ton of stuff too. She's
awesome.
learned a lot through it.
That's really cool. And so talk to us a little bit about a setback that you've had as an entrepreneur. What did you do to overcome it? And then what do you do to move forward from it? Because a lot of people will go through setbacks and they'll overcome it, but they'll make the same mistake, or they won't know what to do moving forward. It's like, hey, I overcame this, I got the help, but because I'm so focused on growing the business, I'm so focused on, getting another truck, getting the next client, getting another job, like they never do anything. They don't create SOPs. There's never any growth from it. It's just like, I did it, I overcame it, cool, and I know how to overcome it if it comes across again. But they don't take the proper steps to, when it does come again, to maybe either avoid it or how to handle it the right way.
So you're saying scenario where something comes up bad, they solve the problem,
Yeah.
but they don't prepare for the next time it comes up.
Yep.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't like to do it. So when a situation comes up in the business, so let's say my last heating in our business, situation comes up of some sort of failure, we didn't collect payment, the customer's being difficult, whatever the situation is. And I'm like, team, let's handle this problem and solve it. And like a lot of people, what they do, a lot of the employees, they get their back up against the wall, nervous that they're going to get in trouble. Ooh, am I going to get written up? Am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to get fired? Am I going to get a pay decrease? All these bad things start going through their head. And I'm like, hey, take all that trash out of your head and let's solve the problem right now first. Okay, let's take floods, for instance. Okay. After I sold my business, the new place had a flood. All right. And it was flooded 2 condominiums. And we're like, okay, what do we got to do here? Well, to solve the problem, first everybody's like, who's going to get in trouble? Who's getting fired? Blah, blah, blah. How much is this going to cost? My brain was, these people have water pouring in their house. Is it turned off? Okay, yes, it's turned off. Now let's find how bad is, let's assess the damage. Okay, they're not going to be able to stay in the home. Let's find them a home to stay in and be kind to these people. Second, let's get this place fixed. Let's solve this situation. Third, now that the dust has kind of settled, hey team, what happened?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Yeah.
And learning what happened, then going and saying, okay, here's the system we need in place to make sure this doesn't happen again. So in the very beginning of SoCal Air, I have a friend that they had broken a fire sprinkler in their electrical business and flooded a house. So I was like, you guys, we need to not do this. This costs a fortune.
Yeah.
So we put an SOP together. If they have fire sprinklers in their house and we're going to go do major work, here's our SOP and how we're going to solve these problems and make sure we not solve these problems, but avoid the problem from even occurring.
Yeah.
And that worked for a long time. And we had one dude break a fire sprinkler in an attic and start spraying everywhere. The team operated in accordance with the SOP, stopped the flood before it even did any damage. There was some insulation that got wet in the attic. They took it out, put new insulation in. That was it.
That's
so
awesome.
It worked.
Yeah.
Right. But if I'm sitting there and just frying people and firing people over stuff, like when the next person breaks a fire sprinkler, everybody's just going to freak. Mm-hmm. No one's going to think, hey, follow the rules. They're only going to think Cody's going to freak out. We're all fired. And they're not going to function well. So when I put the assurance in their heart that nobody's going to get fired, nobody's going to get money taken away, hey, just follow these rules, these processes, they know that the responsibility is on me, that if they follow that process, they're not in trouble. And so that's all they got to focus on. And I'm able to keep their mindset in the right place versus being as emotional.
Yeah.
Emotion clouds judgment.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people don't do that. You know, a lot of the businesses I was involved in, whether it was working for them or being, doing marketing for them, they didn't have SOPs. They didn't have a structure, a good business structure. Where did you learn that from? Was that a military thing, or why did you want to create procedures for people to follow?
I learned that from books, a lot of books, mentors, conferences I was going to. I didn't understand what SOP meant in the beginning. Standard operating procedure, what is that? Like, until they broke it down, like, hey, it's as simple as, well, nobody actually explained it to me this way, but this is how I explain it, is it's like a cooking recipe. A cooking recipe is your SOP. It says, here's a picture of the finished product and what it's supposed to be like. All right, here's the steps to get there. Approximate time, 2 hours. Here's all the ingredients you need. Here's how much of each ingredient you need. Here's how to do every single step to get this perfect product at the end.
Yeah.
That's the best example I can give of an SOP. And so having SOPs for everything in your job, in your workplace, is the clear way to be a good leader and make work clear for your employees. Because so many people just, hey, here's how we do it. Just do this, just do that. And they're supposed to just remember that for years. And it doesn't work. Our brains don't function like that. So having everything in a notebook, and then they can refer to it, is how to lead people. Mm-hmm. And in reality, like, everybody hates the state of California. Oh, you have to write someone up 3 times before you can fire them? That's so dumb. What if they're just a bad employee? Well, if they're a bad employee, you should have already written them up. California holds leaders accountable to the right leadership process. Have a position agreement, and this is what we expect from you.
Yep.
Here's your position and like how to do your job. Here's the processes and the procedures. Hey, you missed doing the process. Now let me be a good leader. Let me hold you accountable. Remember, here's the process. Here's what you did wrong. Let's talk about it. Okay, we documented it. That's a write-up. It's not, you're a bad person, here's your write-up. It's, hey, we documented what happened and what we're learning. That's it. Then if the person has occurred the same problem multiple times, the paper, the documentation spells it all out. Okay, it's time to fire them.
Yeah.
And they expected it to come, and that they know it's on them, and they're not mad at you, as most of the time. So California,
most of the time.
Yeah, California is doing it right in that sense. They're doing it wrong in the sense that, if you don't fire them the right way, then somebody who made $50,000 a year can come sue you for $150,000 over 1 month of something. That's ridiculous. But yeah, we got to step up as leaders and take accountability and be great employers.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm so excited that you're running and going back and finishing that. Where can people either donate to it, support you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so all my handles are like my name, Cody Novini. At Instagram is at Cody Novini or whatever. And there's YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, I think. Yeah, and then but all donations for the run, which we need to raise like another 50 grand and change. It's now like a total of 150,000 so far that we need. I think we're around 95 grand so far. So yeah, that's echofoundation.com, I believe. So EKKO foundation.com. Okay. And there's a way to donate there. And then all of the funds, 100% of those funds are going into the run, into the Angel Houses.
And we'll tag it and we'll put all the links and stuff on the show descriptions. Any last words?
I love you.
Love you too, bro. Awesome. Thanks so much for coming on, man. And remember, guys, that everything was impossible until someone did it.